नमो आयरि नमो वचाया सर्वसाहुं मंगलम भगवान वीरो मंगलम गौतम मंगलम कुंद कुंदात्यो सर्वोस्त मंगल सर्वमंगल्य मांगल्यम सर्वकल्याणकारकम प्रधानम सर्वधर्माणां शरणं जयतु शासनम शरणं जयतु शासनम शरणं जयतु शासनम मोक्षमार्गस्य नेतारं वेत्तारं धर्मभूमिम् यातारं विश्वतत्त्वानां तत्त्वनिलभ्ये वन्दं कृष्णनिलभ्ये वन्दे तत्त्वनिलभ्ये. So we all were discussing on chapter number 3 of Mithyatva part 1 of part 3. And the chapter is about Upayoga. We can call it active consciousness or consciousness in simple words. It is of two types, Darshan and Jnana. The first thing which we must very clearly understand and should not have confusion about is separating darshan, which is in the context of upayog, from darshan, which is in context of samyak darshan or right belief. This is very important. Darshanopayog has nothing to do with darshan, which is samyak darshan gyan charitradi moksha marga. So samyak darshan, there darshan means belief. And when we are talking about upayog, we're talking about gyan. That gyan is being understood in two ways. So two functions of gyan. One is seeing, perceiving. So that perceiving is being called darshan. हमने भगवान का दर्शन किया. That does not mean that I believed in Bhagwan. It means that I saw him. So this darshan is on perception basis. So darshan upayog means we are perceiving, not believing. So darshanopayog does not have the function of believing. So we should never get confused between these two. Okay, this is important. And many a times it's very tempting to see like, okay, darshanopayog would cater to the samyak darshan and jnanopayog is referring to samyak gyan. No, it is not. We are contemplating how gyan functions, how consciousness works, and we are then further dividing it for our understanding that how it happens in process. So first, I'll have the canvas. Canvas is where the colors will be painted, the structures will appear. So first, I need blank canvas. I'm calling that my darshanopayog. On that canvas is where I would be, drawing all these. So like we're sharing the same from the PPT which was shared on the group from G's portal. So, you see this blurry image, right? There is something, but then this again would, literally go under the category of Gyan because you can see that there are lights, you can see there is a road, it's maybe the rainy, there is reflection on the road of lights, it's night time. So many things you can identify even in that image. So this canvas is also not blank. But, just to give you the perspective that perception is that blank space where we have not created any image. So the modification of the consciousness attribute which perceives the formless. Formless is important. Formless. There is nothing, no image whatsoever, but it is important for the images to be formed. So I cannot see any movie if I do not have screen on my TV. So that screen is blank. But on that blank screen only, if I have a painted screen, then you'll not be able to see a cartoon movie on a painted screen because it is already something written over it. So the canvas of darshan, upayog, should be blank. So it is called nirakar or formless. It does not have any form inscripted on it. So it gives a general impression that, okay, there is something, and then it directly fuels your curiosity. What is it? And to investigate what is it, you call your Jnanupayog. So it's a process. First, you'll have the notion that something is there, and then you'll immediately call Gyan to investigate that what is there. So Darshan will give you the stage that, okay, there has to be something. Gyan will give you the specifics of that stage, that what all is there. Okay, everybody? Simple? So it's a two-part sequential thing. Uh, let's say, you know, I'm looking at the screen and suddenly I get to know, like, there is a third, like voice of third, that something fell. Okay, so I go to that direction. Suddenly I'll go to that direction. How did that happen? For earlier, I was looking at the screen. Then my Darshanopayo gave me some notion that some scenery is being painted there. And then my Gyan said, okay, what? And then I said, okay, what is it that to see? So that curiosity. So, when I'm changing my direction of seeing, when I'm flipping the pages of the book, when I'm using my remote to change the channel, it is not happening intuitively. It is happening very sequentially. Your darshan is constantly telling you that there is something, there is something, there is something, there is something, there is something that you should explore. And then your gyan is following the suit. Okay, everybody. So it is nirakar, it is samanya, it is common perception that, okay, I should dig there. There is something. There I can find something that I must know, that I should know. Okay, simple. So Darshanopyog is simple and it will happen on four grounds. Okay. First, your biggest distractor is your eyes. So eyes are constantly creating imagery in these eyes balls. Okay. So in the retina, some images are being regularly, it is being updated that there is always something attractive to see. And that's why your blue screens are, they're designed to keep you hooked onto them. So they are constantly ensuring that, you see one reel and you somehow, your Darshan Upayog says that, okay, something much better than this would come because this was unexpected. So I'll get, so I would want all the knowledge to be garnered from my shorts or my reels. Why? Because my darshan, which is blind, is being constantly poked by, like, the gyan is being constantly poked by the darshan. Okay, okay, just swipe up, swipe up. Understood, everybody? So we have, I'm changing from one vishay to another. I'm changing my attention from one object to another. What is that invitation that I'm receiving from that other object, that I'm abandoning this present object and I'm focusing on the other object? So it is the darshanopyog which is throwing the hints, and then your jnanopyog follows. So that's how we call it gyapti parivartan. And this is actually the reason of our unhappiness. The reason of our unhappiness is not that, we have pain, we have things which we do not have, things which we want, or we have things which we do not want. These are not the causes of our misery, our sufferings. The cause of our suffering is that I have this somehow the notion that, I came to reading this thinking that it will make me happy, but then suddenly I realized that no, it is boring. Let me change the channel. So I started with this documentary, I started with this video on YouTube, I started with this show on Netflix, and then 15 minutes down the line, I'm saying, no, 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 it's a wrong start. Let's change something else. So it is not that show. It is your belief system which is telling you that happiness is derived from outside, and that's how you're seeing a TV. And then your Gyan, which is functioning in two ways. The present Gyanopyog is showing you the present show. And then, in very whispering voice, your Darshanopyog is saying, get out of here. There is a better show. And then your Gyan is changing that channel and going there. So this, you're not finding rest anywhere. There is all, no matter how beautiful place you end up in, there will always be a much beautiful place that you have not explored yet. And you will say, okay, this is ticked off my bucket list, but there is one more thing that I need to do. So this is called Gyapti. This is the forever, the mirage we call it. This is that forever thirst that which never gets quenched. Okay. So Darshanopayog and Jnanopayog. So Gyan is stuck onto this thing as of now that, okay, I should write something on my journal. Suddenly my Darshan says, no, 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 have you read that thing already? And then suddenly somehow you get a notification and then your journal, you are trying to ignore because you have committed to yourself that you'll be sitting down on this task for 10 minutes. Then suddenly you realize, oh, what if this is from that side? So your darshan is constantly poking and creating in blank canvas, getting close to gyan that, okay, you may think of all these things and then choose to get swayed away from this present context and go to another classroom altogether. So therefore, we are calling ourselves chadmast. हम अपने आप को छद्मस्त बोलते हैं. You must have heard this word called छद्मस्त. Chadma is somebody who is not well off. Chadma is somebody who has very little source of knowledge, very little actually amount of knowledge. So we are Chadmast, and how long will we remain Chadmast? Until we become Sarvagya. So the whole Jiva population can be divided into two. The whole conscious world is divided into two parts. One is Sarvagya, the omniscient Lord who knows everything about everything. Okay? And others, those who are not Chadmas, those who are not Sarvagya. So if they're not Sarvagya, what they are called? They're called Chadmast. So till 12th Gunasthan, until we attain Keval Gyan, we remain Chadmast. And in Chadmast, Darshanopayog and Gyanopayog, they always have time difference. They happen sequentially. You will always have Gyanopayog, which has occurred only after Darshanopayog has done its job. So Darshanopayog will give you clue. And because we are unhappy and we are constantly seeking out of our nature happiness, constantly sourcing happiness, yahan se mil jayega, wahan se mil jayega, constantly. So the moment I'm on this, I'm having my gulab jamun right now. I'm having it. I love it. But somehow my Darshanopayog will tell me that, okay, you just have had it, but have you ever tried it with ice cream? No. At once, the thought may look really, what, who eats it with ice cream? Then again, one thought would say that why not give it a try? So things will keep on happening because I do not have the good belief, the resting belief about where does happiness come from. So for me, happiness can be derived from anywhere. So it can be a movie show, it can be a party, it can be expedition, it can be jungle safari, it can be going to a museum or to a zoo. It could be meeting with friends, it could be meeting with families, it could be sleeping. So many places to derive my happiness from. And yet, wherever you go, your brain will function like, no, you're not home yet. There is there is tiny little possibility that your happiness would be there. Go to that. So how is this happening? This is the game of hide and seek which Darshan and Gyan are playing. Darshan is not showing the entire picture. And it says, oh, there is something. And Gyan says, okay, let me see. It would be better than what I have got right now. And it will keep on going from one subject to another. Understood? So that is the problem of Chadmasta, which has been explained in Pravachan Sar Granth. They've called it Gyapti Parivartan. दुख का कारण हमारे ज्ञान की अपूर्णता है. And therefore, to be completely thoughtless, you have to be Sarvagya. Because then you know everything. And then you know that, your darshan has been fooling you. It was nowhere and it was all within. So an omniscient Bhagwan does not have desire because they have the full knowledge, and they have the full knowledge, so they know about everything about everything. So there is no fooling around in any. It is possible that it might be found here. Understood the context? Yes. So how darshan functions? So darshan has four types: chakshu darshan, achakshu darshan, avadhi darshan, and keval darshan. So we have five senses, and those five senses, they are divided into two. Okay, so there are some senses which would require that you have to go near to that object to garner some information from that. So let's say if I want to know how does this dish taste, the gulab jamun, how is it? Is it well made? So I cannot just see it and say, oh, it is tasting good. I'll have to actually take it to my tongue and taste it. Yes, everybody? If you want me to know that how this music is, then those sound, those vibrations of those sound, they must enter my earbud. Yeah, eardrums. If they're not reaching it, I'm not able to know whether is it sung well or is it not. Yes, everybody? If you want me to know whether is it too hot or too cold, I will have to touch it. I'll have to touch that jar to know whether it is amply hot or not yet. If you want me to know that is it smelling any bad over here, then I'll have to sniff it. I'll have to take those particles of odor into my nostrils. Yes, everybody. So my knowledge is happening by approaching the very objects which are in question. So they are the objects of touch, they have to be touched. The objects of taste, they have to be tasted. The objects of smell, they have to be smelled. Objects of hearing, they have to be heard. They should reach your ear. Remove all earplugs you have. The words must enter your ear. Yes, everybody. But, but, to see you, I need not touch you. To see, I do not need to establish any direct connection with the object. To taste, I had to touch the gulab jamun. To know the temperature, I had to touch the jar. I had to. To listen to that music, I had to put the earplugs, headphones, earpods. I had to. To smell, I had to bring that rose closer to my nose and then smell. But to see, I just have to open my eyes. And I see the screen, I see the wall, I see the painting, I see the design, I see the sunlight, I see the fan, I see everything that is visible. So, because seeing is happening so autonomously, so independently, you need not make or enter into an agreement with the object to see it. Yeah, you can stop me from touching your property. You cannot stop me from seeing the gate and security box we have made outside of your house. And that is also not a crime. I will enter, that would be trespassing, but I am seeing it. It's not. You close the door, I'll not see anything. But just because your door was open, I am not the party that I saw it. Are what? I cannot close my eyes. Yes. So therefore, they're dividing the Indriyas into two parts. Chakshu darshan, which are done independently and so openly by eyes, without any intervention, you cannot control it, it will happen. And then rest of the Indriyas where you will require some interaction, some direct communication with external subjects. You have to establish it. So we are calling it achakshu darshan. So to see you, I'm seeing you. But to think of you when you're not around. Yes? Then what is it that I'm doing? I'm not, I'm creating that imagery. I'm accessing my memory. Correct? So all these things which are not directly involving the eyes, they'll be going to achakshu darshan. And all the things that are involving your direct visibility, so we are calling it ocular perception or chakshu darshan. Non-ocular, chakshu is eyes, name in Sanskrit. Name of eyes, they are called chakshu in Sanskrit language. Okay? Hindi mein we call it akh, netra. In Sanskrit we call it chakshu. So chakshu darshan, that nirakar darshan, that formless formation which you are having on the screen of your consciousness, while you are trying to see something from your eyes. So before even seeing, what blank canvas gets generated is called chakshu darshan, and then what you see is the result of mati gyan. Like with your eyes, with your senses you saw. So that is gyan. This is darshan. Okay? But you're not seeing right now, you're tasting. So that blank canvas, that formless canvas which gets painted while you're trying to access an object of a taste sense or your sense of touch, then that is called achakshu darshan. That is the canvas for that achakshu darshan. And the gyan then that happens after that, that would be mati gyan again. Okay, everyone? Simple. Third is the again to know Achakshu Darshan, Avadhi Darshan and Keval Darshan, we'll have to first know about the different types of knowledge. What are the different types of Gyan which are possible? Okay, Chakshu and Achakshu, I just introduced the names. Okay, so like what we saw here in Darshan, the blank canvas was being made. What happens in Gyan? It's a clear picture. It's very clear, very apparent. And you have, how it looks, how it tastes, how, heavy it is it fresh, is it not? All these thoughts that you are going to make, you're going to have all these data. It is being derived from that Gyan. Gyan is processing it. So how the Gyan is processing it? I saw the apple. But then how did I know that, okay, I will have to eat this apple within 2 days? I could not see that. Then I, based on my previous experience of seeing apple, that how do they behave in this weather? Where will I have to put it? So first seeing the apple, that would be called Mati Gyan. But then thinking what is not visible, based on my past learning, based on my experience, that is the work of Shruti Gyan. So processing the fresh data brought by Mati Gyan is called Shruti Gyan. Okay? So at a time, you could either be on one perception or you could be on knowledge. Darshan and Gyan, you could be only at one space. Darshan Purvak Gyan hoga. So first, you have the canvas, then your Gyan follows. Then, Gyan is stuck there. Then again, Darshan calls, oh, see, something different is there. So you went to Darshan and then Gyan followed. So Upayog is that, Tom and Jerry run of Darshan and Gyan. Okay? So now, Gyan Upayog has 5 types. Predominantly, Gyan is of 5 types when we are saying that Samyak Drishti is Gyan. And then, first 3 types of Gyan could also be corrupted. So they then are called perverted types of 3 Agyan, they are called. So right knowledge, no knowledge, Samyak Gyan, Mithya Gyan. So right knowledge is of 5 types: Mati Gyan, Shrut Gyan, Avadhi Gyan, Manapare Gyan, Keval Gyan. Okay, everyone, simple. What is Mati Gyan? Mati Gyan is the Gyan which is your only connection with this outer world. Only connection. You do not touch it, you do not taste it, but you collect information from it. So you create your own image of what you see. But that creation of image, that Xeroxing unit of soul is sensory knowledge, is Mati Gyan. Okay, it will Xerox. Like in a Xerox shop, what happens? You give your originals, the machine takes that original, it does not take anything from that original, it creates its own image of original, and using its own paper, it gives you another copy of the original. So now this original's copy does not borrow anything from the original. Similarly, I do not borrow anything from the texture of this pencil. I just, in my Matigyan, create the data of the how this texture of this pencil is. So I have not taken anything from pencil. I have not taken anything from my finger. I have in my Gyan created a copy of how its texture is. So this is called Matigyan. Okay. Second is whatever I knew from Matigyan, I also had previous data. I took contextually the present data which has come to me, and then I applied my previous data. So I went to the terrace and I saw that there are certain black clouds and the wind, it's very windy and the winds are a bit cold. Then based on my previous knowledge, suddenly I said, oh, it is about to rain. I did not see the rain through my senses. Who told me about the rain? It's my database which did all the processing. So that whatever you knew from Mati Gyan, if that knowledge takes you to something that you did not knew from your Mati Gyan, that is called Shrut Gyan, the processed knowledge. So data collection is Mati Gyan, data processing is Shrut Gyan. Okay, everybody. Okay? Now, most of the jivas in this samsar are having these 2 gyans. All the Nigodya jivas, ek indriya, do indriya, tri indriya, asangi panchendriya, chau indriya, sangi panchendriya, manushya, sangi panchendriya, tiryancha, they all have mati, gyan, shrutya. Devas and narkis have one more addition. And some of the manushya, out of their tap, they can also garner this speciality of gyan. It is called Avadhi Gyan. What is Avadhi Gyan? So Avadhi Gyan is, very fascinating Gyan. Uh, okay, there is a question that I'm still confused about Chakshu and Achakshu. For smelling, nose is always, yeah, nose is always open. Like your ears are also always open. But the smell will only, you may be only, it will be only possible for you to take that order if the particles, what if your nose is blocked? So what is it? How is it stopping you from smelling? Because the particles of that odor are not able to reach your nostrils. So for it, you have to bring the rose closer to your nose to smell how it smells. You took the cake and you smelled it, whether it is baked or not. So you took it closer to yourself, right? So you have to have that thing closer. So the nostrils need to experience those um, uh, order particles. But for eyes, it's nothing something like that. You have to access it. So therefore, chakshu is different from achakshu darshan, from other senses, how we operate. Okay. Yeah. So what happens with avadhi gyan? In avadhi gyan, it's like a superpower. So for a certain geographic area, let's say within the radius of 100 miles. So first you have the area specificness. Okay. So for the radius of, let's say, 1,000 miles, then you also have the time about, let's say, all the happenings of last 1 year. So I would, through my Avadhi Gyan, sitting on my this chair, could know anything that is happening or has happened within last 1 year in this very specific area and 100 miles from this area, and I would know it if I use my Avadhi Gyan. So Avadhi is called duration. So it could be duration, it could be specifics of the area and time. And based on the limitation that, okay, I have this much of knowledge. So to this much of clarity, you could know about it. So the Devas, they have Avadhi Gyan and they know about things that what is going to happen or what had happened. So they are calling it Avadhi Gyan. For Narkis also, why is he killing me? Why is he hurting me? If they are having this type of questions, then they try to think that what has happened in the past word. And it's a kuavadi, it's called Vibhang or kuavadi Gyan, and they get a very distorted picture. So maybe your mother might be applying a mascara on your eyes, but it would look like that she's hurting your eyes, and then you'll get very angry at your mother in Narak, you're meeting her. And then you start, taking revenge because Avadhi Gyan, it would be perverted in Kuavati Gyan. So it will show you the picture, but in distorted ways, half picture, so that it further fuels your passions. What is Manapare Gyan? It is telepathy. Does not happen to Devas, does not happen to Narkis, does not happen to Tiranjgati Jivas. Only happens to Digambar Jain Bhavlingi Muniraj. It is one of the Riddhi. And what does it do? If I have Manapare Gyan, then I can read what is going on in your mind. It is telepathy. And it is a very dangerous thing to do. Never wish that you could read others' thought. Otherwise, it will snatch away all the little peace you already have. Okay? So therefore, the condition. A Vitaragi detached Muniraj only has such a big heart that he can process what other person is thinking and still can forgive that person, can practice Uttam Kshama. So therefore, and then again, it has a certain level. So you can only think of the the Mana Paregyan also has two types of beds. So if that Muniraj is Tadbha Mokshagami, okay, Charam Shari, then he'll have a different type of resilience in terms of operating Mana Paregyan. But if that Muniraj is not Charam Shariri, then also their limitation of accessing somebody's mind is limited because it may lead to the perversion of thoughts. Now, what if I know that you are thinking not very well of me? It will just disturb my mind. So, इसलिए only Vitragi, Bhavlingi, Muniraj, they have this Manay Paray Gyan, the fourth Gyan. All the Tirthankaras, when they take Diksha, from birth, they have three types of Gyan. Mati Gyan, Shuddh Gyan, Avadhi Gyan. The moment they take Diksha, Manah Paregyan gets activated for Tirthankar Muniraj. And when they have Keval Gyan, all the four Gyans go, because Keval Gyan is where you do not need other types of Gyans. So if you can have only one type of Gyan, that would be Keval Gyan. Otherwise, you can have at least two Gyan. Every Sansari Jeev will have at least two, which are Mati Shrut. Then add-on is Avadhi. And then, if you are a great monk and out of your tap, you have garnered some Vidya, then you can also have Manah Paregyan. Okay, everybody. Mati Gyan could be divided out of the impression of Samyak and Mithyatva. If I do not have right knowledge, right belief, then my knowledge is not going to serve for my happiness. So we are calling it Kumati Gyan. And whatever conclusions I would be drawing out of that knowledge, sensory knowledge, it would be Kushrut Gyan, right? So I may be very intelligent. I'm the professor of maybe quantum physics in some great university, like MIT. I have good knowledge on my subject, barabar, but it would be called Kumatin Purushut Gyan because that knowledge does not help me in uplifting my state, in diminishing my kashayas. So the Gyan which does not lead to self-awareness, that Gyan is being called Kumati Pushrit Gyan. So what will I be designing in MIT labs? I would be finding, I would be designing certain, like how could we have better types of machinery. I could have better types of equipments with which we can, fight better world. How could we be indestructible? Better missiles with better range. So all that is now being thought of with my great knowledge. So the knowledge which thinks of war is not good knowledge. It is perverted knowledge. So Kumati, Kushrul, and Kuavadi, I already told you. So it gives you the impression, it tells you the story, but in bits, such that it, instead of helping you, it further frustrates you. So this is 8 types of Gyan, which is possible. Okay, everybody? Okay? So while we understood about these Gyan, then we'll also understand about the Chakshu Darshan and Chakshu Darshan. So Chakshu and Chakshu Darshan, they are the compulsory Gyan which will happen, which Darshanopayog which will happen before we reach to Mati Gyan. So if I am having Mati Gyan from Chakshu Indriya, so before that, which darshan will I have? Ocular perception or Chakshu darshan. If I am having Mati Gyan with Karn Indriya, which uh, Upayog will precede it, it will be a Chakshu darshan. Okay? If I'm knowing through my Avadhi Gyan, so I again need a canvas. So which will precede it? Then for Avadhi Gyan, Avadhi Darshan, it will precede it. So Avadhi Gyan se purva hone wala, जो सामान्य formless ज्ञान darshan will have, it will be called Avadhi Darshan. But when I attain Keval Gyan, here things change. If in Keval Gyan also, I will have first Darshan and then Gyan, then my Upayog will again be traveling from one place to another because you added a sequence. And sequence where I'll first look at this darshan board and then I'll look at Gyan board. Then there will be possibility of Vikalp. And if there is Vikalp, there is Dukh. And if there is Dukh, then Arihant Bhagwan will become Dukhi. So then it becomes a very peculiar case in terms of Arihantas that they have darshan and Gyan, but not sequentially. There is no time gap in omniscient perception and omniscient knowledge. सर्वज्ञ भगवान के दर्शन और ज्ञान एक साथ वर्तते हैं. And therefore he is Ananta Darshan and Ananta Gyan. He has both at the same time. Yes, everybody. ठीक है? Simple. Now, this is the distinction point between the Jain Shwetambar tradition and Digambar tradition. That they will also, they will differ from their belief in about whether do we have sequential darshan and gyan in Kevli Bhagwan or not. It is where the Digambar and Shwetambar philosophy differs. But what Digambaras very firmly believe, for the same logic, that then if it will happen sequentially, then there will be the possibility of origination of Vikal, which would be Rag, which would be Dukh. So it does not happen. Okay? Mati Gyan we know, Shruti Gyan we have, you guys have already read the text. It was just to give you the context that why are we reading or why are we learning about things. So let's say, you know, we are told that, when you go to the temple to do darshan, so then you should not go with your, after eating something, you should, clean your mouth. तो हम झूठे मुंह मंदिर में नहीं चाहते हैं, right? What do you call झूठा मुंह in English? Is there something, do you have word for that? No? So, if you have eaten something, you first have water, cleans your mouth, and then you enter temple. Why?
Because you shouldn't be eating in the mandir and you can still have remains in your mouth.
No, I'm not eating. I have eaten. I have eaten. I have just not had water after eating. So I have not cleaned my mouth.
Maybe because when you want to do stutis and all, you want to be as pure as possible. You don't want the food to sort
How
of.
come the food is making me impure? Am I eating impure food?
No, but
What is wrong? I had a very decent, very sattvic food.
But the taste probably still lingers in your mouth, and that is
So
not
what?
what you want.
Maybe
Like when
Why?
you are
because
doing stuti of Bhagwan, like if the taste still lingers, whatever I might still have, which you want to
It
be.
again has to do with upayog. Your upayog, it sequentially runs from one object to another. You went to temple to offer your devotion. But hello, your Mati Gyan is sequentially working. So while you were seeing Bhagwan, so we said when Chakshu Darshan and Chakshu Mati Gyan was looking at Bhagwan, suddenly my Upyog said, oh, there is something there stuck in your teeth. It is tasting good. So your Achakshu Darshan popped up and it took your Mati Gyan to Rasna Indriya ka Vishay. It became an hindrance in your offering of your devotion. So it directly affects your concentration because your upayog is a very shaky business. It jumps from one subject to another. So you do not want to give it any hints. So you have your mouth clean. You do not wear ekdam new tadak bhadak wale clothes. You wear simple clothes. You do not, over decorate yourself with heavy jewelry because then your upayog would go to these things. Is my cloth looking okay? Is my face looking okay? So we are even covering our hair. So you do not have to worry about, your hair coming in front of your eyes. We have in outside the temple, we have a ghanta in mandir. So we have a bell. We say nisai, 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 and we just so that it breaks the lineage of thoughts in our mind. And we say that, okay, I'm now going to focus. To go focused while doing your pujan or swadhyay in temple, you need to minimize the possibility of distractions for your darshan and gyan. You're getting it? So it is purely the science of, if you understand how your upyog works, you would never put your phone on vibration mode in temple. You would rather use aeroplane mode or you'll switch it off. Because, the intent is not to create sound which will disturb others. Even the vibration is going to disturb you and snatch away that precious time in temple from you. So we are trying to minimize through these things that our upayog does not deviate from what it intended to do, it came for. Yes, everybody. So all these things which we're talking about, in the last class, we talked about multitasking. In last class, we also talked about the greed, the information greed we all have garnered. I should know so much. What is happening in war? What is happening in India? What is happening in that family, this family, with my friends? How well are they doing? Unka wo hua tha, what happened then? So we are so much filled with greed for new information, that we have forgotten that so much information is not good for us. Humans are never made to process information, that too at such great pace. It is making us grow old faster. All our information consumption, it has exceeded beyond our capacity. So it is hurting us. We are being sleep deprived. Our brains are over functioning. Why? Because we do not understand how this Upayoga functions, how the process of knowing works. So our Bhagwan has break it into parts. He said that, see, even the perception canvas are of 4 types. The Gyan itself is of 8 types. And then they have their subtypes, and they all happen sequentially. No matter how many tabs you have opened on your browser, your mouse will be clicking only one tab at a time. You can have so many things on your to-do list, on your sticky notes, but at a time you can only think about one. So what rest of the sticky notes are doing? They are not helping, they're actually disturbing. They're always telling that, oh, you do it as fast, there is so much left to be done. So they're not getting themselves completed, and they're not also letting you do this peacefully. So you're never completely in one place. You're always everywhere, and yet nowhere in your fullest form, in your complete form. And this is the tragedy of this information age. Everybody has information, access to information, but nobody has knowledge that what is my limit and how much can I process. Yes, everybody? Yeah. So this Upayog chapter tells us that, okay, we are built to know, but not to know everything and all about everything. We are built. Let's just, for once read the definition of Mati Gyan, which is given in this chapter. I'll open it. Because it is beautifully described, the definition of Mati Gyan, and we'll then close this chapter. What do you mean by sensory and scriptural and other knowledge? Gyan Chandra. The knowledge of one's own soul, which arises through self-directed awareness, using perceptive consciousness without relying on external support, is called sensory knowledge. This is the real definition of Mati Gyan. Alternatively, the knowledge that arises with the senses and mind as instrumental cause is called Mati Gyan. This is the alternative definition, that you know what, I am knowing about this watch by seeing this watch. Okay, the color, the texture, this is Mati Gyan, but this is not the true definition of Mati Gyan. What my Gyan was supposed to do, हमारे ज्ञान का प्राइमरी फंक्शन क्या है? Why are we conscious? Savidya, Yavimukte. That is knowledge which makes you happy. So if your knowing does not make you happy, rather it makes you tensed, it makes you worried, then it is not knowledge. It is kumati, kushrut gyan. It is perverted knowledge. But if your gyan is inclined towards self and it rejoices joy, which is built, which is produced by yourself, not relying on the external instrumental causes, that gyan is called mati gyan. So being happy despite of your surrounding is the true functioning of mati gyan. But we have made it that, okay, with my mati gyan, I have to know from my externalities. You don't have to know. They will come to your knowledge. But your primary function is to be happy and to make sure that you're happy. So ज्ञान वो है जो हमें सुखी करता है, अज्ञान वो है जो हमें दुखी करता है. So there is no bigger sin than agyan, ignorance. And there is no bigger blessing than gyan, samyak gyan. Because they are the reason of dukh and sukh, respectively. Okay, everybody? So this Upayog, we'll be doing it in great detail because, even Mati Gyan will have stages, Shruti Gyan will have stages, but that will be done when we read other material in our coming semesters. For this, we were only exposed to these names of 4 Darshanopayog and 8 type of Gyanopayog. And we were told about, okay, the possibilities are so many more, like so much more. For example, we all are using artificial intelligence today. So I take, let's say, I go to Notebook LM, I upload Vitra Vigyan Patmala Part 3, and I say that, okay, explain me everything about chapter number 3, Upayog, in English or in Hindi or in Gujarati. It will do that in 10 minutes. It will create slide decks, it will create infographics, it will create flashcards, it will do everything for me. Yeah. Can I beat it with my knowledge capabilities? If there is a competition between I processing chapter number 3 and creating templates and creating a lesson plan and Notebook LM making it or some AI model making it for me, can I ever ace in this race? Our capacities are very minimal. We cannot process at that level because we are not machines. But then I am conscious and it is not conscious. Being conscious never means to know more. Being conscious means to know what is right and what is for you. ज्ञान का कार्य जानकारी नहीं है, वो तो पुद्गल भी, that's what calculators are for. Processing is the work of machines. So 2 plus 2 is processing, it is not gyan. But one Atma is different from all other beings. This is real mathematics, which makes me happy. This Ved Vigyan is mathematical model. तो ज्ञान का उद्देश्य सुख है. The Gyan should bring joy. Gyan should not bring data. So whatever you can delegate to machines, delegate it. So this AI is here to tell us that consciousness is not data processing. जानना वो information को tweak करना नहीं है. Consciousness is मैं ज्ञानानंद स्वभावी हूँ. ज्ञान के साथ आनंद, it's a combo. You cannot have one and skip another. So if your gyan is not bringing anand along with it, then it is not gyan, it is a gyan. So ज्ञान का compulsory function है, ज्ञान के साथ सुख, ज्ञान के साथ आनंद has to come. So if all our knowledge is not making us happy and contented, then we have wrong set of knowledge. We have not known how to operate with this consciousness. Understood? ठीक है, simple है. So Mati Shruti Gyan is also capable of keeping us happy with samta, with vigyan, with contentment. If only we are here to contemplate what the intent of life is. Intent of life is not to know all about everything. Intent of हमारा भगवान ग्रंथ हमें नहीं पढ़ा रहे so that we can know about this world. The scriptures are taught because we can know about ourselves. आत्मज्ञान ही ज्ञान है, शेष सभी अज्ञान, विश्व शांति का मूल है, वीतराग विज्ञान. This is what was there in this conversation between Darshan Lal and Gnan Chand. And this is what we learned. And केवल ज्ञान में we will not have these distinction between the darshan and gyan, and this is what the Upayog chapter was all about in our syllabus as of now. Okay, ठीक है. I'm reading many questions are there, but what we'll do, we'll first have the reading of lesson number 4, which is again a very interesting topic and has to do in great deal about Upayog as well. And we are dedicating the next complete 1 hour to this. So let's have a quick reading of lesson number 4, non-acquired wrong belief, grahita, and acquired wrong belief, grahit mithyatva. So now after learning about Gyan, we are now learning about Darshan, which is belief. Not Darshanopayog, but the Darshan means Shraddha, the belief. So it is being attacked by Mithyatva, wrong belief. So Samyak Darshan's antonym is Mithyatva. Yeah. Okay. So let's first do the introduction of Pandit Daulat Ramji Paliwal. Who is going to read today? Kripaji, will you read? Kripaji Shah. Yeah.
Daulatramji Paliwala, the spiritual enthusiast, personality and works, Samyat 1855-1923. Pandit Daulatramji, a seer scholar and poet of the 19th century, who remained immersed in the essence of spirituality, Adhyatma Ras, was a gem among men of the Paliwal community. He was born in a village named Sasni, located near Aligarh. Later, he also lived in Aligarh for some time. His father's name was Malji. Away from self-applause, the full life story of this great poet is not available. He was an ordinary householder, a simple in nature, self-enlightened person, Atmagnani. The Chardala authored by him is a cherished and widely circulated literary gem within the Jain community. There is hardly any Jain who has not studied Chardala. It holds a prominent place in the curriculum of all Jain examination boards. He composed it in Samvat 1891. He achieved the remarkable feat of encapsulating an ocean of wisdom within a single picture. Additionally, he composed numerous hymns and spiritual songs imbued with spiritual sense, which are still recited daily in all religious assemblies across India. His hymns are not only devotional, they are also filled with profound philosophical principles. Along with devotion and spirituality, his poetry also showcases poetic excellence in its most robust form. The language is simple, lucid, and flows effortlessly. There is an absence of unnecessary words. His verses can be proudly placed before any stalwart of Hindi literature with immense pride. The The present section is based on second dhala of his famous composition Chardala. Non-acquired wrong belief and acquired wrong belief. Agrahit and Grahit Mithyatva.
Yes. Thank you. Pandit Daulat Ramji, I'm not sure if you have read Chaitanya or not, but it is one of the most beautiful works in recent Jain literature history. The dohas or chandas, which are included by Pandit Daulat Ramji in Chaitala's six stars, they are not something that he created. He literally took the words of acharyas and he translated those words into poetry. So many of his chandas are literally the Padyanuvats of the gathas of Acharya Kunkun Dev, Acharya Amritchandra Dev, and Kartikeyan and Preksha, Kartikeya Swami. And it is one scripture which is, sung in, all Jain families. And most of the, if you meet people from in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they even remember, they've memorized it because in their childhood they have been singing all these verses from this scripture. Dhal is that protective shield, and there are six types of protective shield in six chapters. It starts with the soul's journey. So, how did we start? So, it talks about the sufferings that we have endured of four gatis. The second chapter goes and says that, okay, I told you that these are the sufferings, but these are the effect, not the cause. What is the cause of that suffering? So, in the second dhal, he talks about the causes of this suffering. Why are we transmigrating into four circles of life and birth and death? And then in the third dhal, he starts talking about how to get freed from this vicious cycle of suffering and how to uproot these causes of suffering. And then he talks about in the third dhal about Samyak Darshan. The third dhal is completely based on Samyak Darshan. In the fourth dhal, he talks about Samyak Gyan and the charitra for the householders like you and me. So while we cannot disown everything and become monk, still we can do something. So he talks about the 12 vratas, which are also there along with Samyak Gyan's nature. In the fifth dhal, he then ask us to contemplate about the nature of this world and ask us to feel that, okay, it is not a very happy place, not a desirable place, and we should be filled with vairagya. So there are 12 contemplations, 12 bhavna in the fifth dhal, which we read. Yeah. And then in the sixth dhal, the Mahavratas, like the actual moksha marg, when I'll be initiating into Jain monkhood, I will attain a thrice nirgunas. Then I'll sit in Shuddhopayog. I'll do dhyan. I'll destroy the four ghatya karmas. I'll become arihanta. Then I'll destroy the remainder four aghatya karmas and I'll become siddha. So from Nigoda, what started in Dhal 1, it concludes in the Dhal 6, where I am a Siddha. So it is a complete summary of the Dwadashang, and a fantastic work in its size, in its simplicity, in its poetry, in its beauty. It is a completely marvelous work, and we all, if you have not read it, please do read it. There are pravachans of Gurudev Shri also available on this amazing scripture. So it is on the second dhal of this scripture where we're talking about the root cause of our, going from one gati to another and changing bodies and roaming around in this circle of life and death. What is the actual root cause? It is based on that. So it is based in the second dhal of Chaitanya scripture. So we have two people here, student and teacher. We can have two people who can do the reading today, who have not done it since like a long time. Not sure. I see your names and I feel everybody has been reading on every class. I don't know why. Yes. Anybody who has not done it in previous two classes can start, please.
I can do it, AnubhavJi.
I
Yes,
can
okay.
volunteer too.
Okay, so two people. Yeah, yeah. Pick any one, be one student, one teacher. Start.
I'll be the student if that's okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's
okay,
fine. I'll
start.
be the.
Whose story is told in Chauda Dhala? Ah, yeah.
It is the story of mine, yours, and everyone's. It tells the tale of this soul wandering in the cycle of worldly existence. Since eternity, this soul has been roaming through the four realms of existence, yet has never found true happiness anywhere. This is what is revealed in the first verse, first dhala.
Why is the soul wandering in the mundane existence? What is the reason for this suffering?
The answer to this question is provided in the second dhala. ऐसी मिथ्या दृग ज्ञान करणावासा भ्रमत भारत दुख ज्ञानमा Marna. This soul, influenced by false faith, mithya darshan, false knowledge, mithya gyan, and false conduct, mithya charitra, wanders through the worldly existence and endures the sufferings of birth and death.
What are these wrong faith, wrong knowledge, wrong conduct due to which this being is unhappy?
Perverted belief regarding the seven fundamental elements, tattvas, such as Jeev, Ajeev, etc., is known as wrong faith, Mithyatva, also called wrong perception, Mithya Darshan. You have studied the attributes of these elements. Viewing them contrary to their true nature is wrong perception. It is said, Jivadi Prayogajan Bhuta Tattva Sarade Tina Mahi Viparyatva, meaning the essential elements like Jiva and Ajiva are misunderstood or incorrectly perceived.
Since when are we in the grips of these wrong beliefs?
This is since time eternal, but we have been supporting this with external activities. This is of two kinds: an acquired wrong belief, agritha mithyatva, and acquired wrong belief, grahita mithyatva.
Kindly explain unacquired wrong belief and acquired wrong belief.
The feeling of oneness that living beings have with their bodies and attachments towards external objects since time. Sorry, I think we've gone a bit Can
Um,
Yeah,
wait,
that's
no.
fine. Yeah, the feeling of oneness that living beings have with their bodies and attachments towards external objects, since time eternal, is unacquired wrong faith. Acquired wrong faith is the perverted belief that we have developed, being influenced by false deities, false scriptures, and false monks. Agrahita means that which is not acquired, and grahita means that which has been acquired.
In that case, there must be unacquired and acquired wrong knowledge, right?
Yes, indeed, there are. The ignorance regarding the fundamental truths like the soul, jiva, and other fundamental elements, tattvas, which has existed since beginless time, is called unacquired false knowledge. On the other hand, when one studies scriptures that promote attachment and aversion, rag dvesh, through distorted descriptions and considers them to be true, that is acquired false knowledge.
Shall we understand wrong conduct? Mithya charitra also likewise.
Yes, of course. The indulgence of an ignorant soul in sensory objects is called unacquired false conduct, agrahita mithya charitra, whereas the outward adoption of conduct due to desire for praise and admiration is acquired false conduct, grahita mithya charitra. All such external rituals and actions are ultimately fruitless because they lack true knowledge and faith regarding the self jeev and the non-self ajeev. It has been said that जो ख्याति लाभ पूजादि चाहा धरी करन विविधा विधि देहा दाहा आत्म अनात्मा के ज्ञानाहीन जे जे कारनी तन करन Sheen, meaning those who seek fame, gain, and worship perform various bodily rituals without knowledge of the soul, and non soul, whatever they do is futile.
Why are all the activities of ignorant being unrighteous? Shouldn't the good ones be called righteous?
Pandit Daulat Ram ji replies thus Ragadi bhav hinsa samet darvita tras thavara marana kheta je kriya tinhe janu कुधर्म तिन सराधाय जीव lahai asarm, believing that actions that arise from the eternal emotions of attachment and aversion, which result in psychic violence, bhav hinsa, and the physical violence, dravya hinsa, that harms mobile and immobile living beings, tras and sthavar, as dharma is kudharma, false doctrine. Having faith in these actions leads the soul, jeev, to suffering.
What is the remedy of saving oneself from these?
By understanding the true nature of the deity, true scriptures, and true teacher, one can avoid the acquired false belief. And by attaining true knowledge of the soul and other purposeful fundamental elements, tattvas, along with direct self experience, atmanabhuti, one can eliminate inherited false belief.
Then please explain the nature of all of these.
Some other time.
Okay. Um, Thank you. So this chapter is like one of the most important chapter which should stay with us for life and the lives to come. The most precious thing which we hold is our belief. It defines us. If I believe in something, I can go to any level to then protect that belief. So if I'm told that, you know what, this X person is what whom we believe in, and they on this very one of the very peculiar Amavasya of this year, in the night they'll be waking up, and it has been the ritual of our family that we make him happy by offering sacrifice of a big buffalo? If I believe so, it will become a very pious act for me. It is actually carrying forward the tradition of my family. It is making that deity happy. That deity has been given me, has been giving me prosperity, taking care of my family, good health, good name, good fame, because I have gotten it all because of him. This is what my belief is telling me. When my belief told me that this is how it is, I completely stopped thinking about what would that buffalo, which is going to be sacrificed, would feel. How would it suffer? What would it mean to it? And that's how people could be agreed to do any sort of crime if you can tweak with their belief system. So if I'm told that, it is our religion and our glory lies in our religion and we should spread it. And if people do not convert to your religion, kill them, convert them, do whatever you want to do. Because for conversion, you'll be rewarded whenever you reach to that great Bhagwan, to great deity, to great God. And now I am ready to literally kill people if they are not following what I'm saying. Who has made me so cruel? It is my belief. So, it is, from, waking up till you go to sleep, whatever you do, whatever you use is has reached you because your belief got convinced. Which toothpaste are you using? Does it have salt? Does it have charcoal? Is it red? Is it white? Is it a powder? It all depends on what they convinced you with. So you did not buy the toothpaste, you bought the belief. The car you're running, is it electric? It is hybrid? It is a sports car? It's a sedan? What it is, you were attacked in making that decision. There were so many things that were thrown at you. The wrist watch which you have on your wrist, the type, which brand are you using of cell phone? Is it Apple? Is it Samsung? What is it? Everything that you're doing, like, do you use Windows or you use iOS? What you are using, or Linux you're operating on, you were convinced that this is better, this is not. Everything that we're doing is called charitra. What we do is our conduct. That is called charitra. And it is being done because our gyan led us to certain conclusions. So the knowledge which is operating has access to certain data points. It evaluates all those data points and then reaches to a conclusion, which becomes our belief. Then that belief which is formed by this knowledge, again directs this knowledge to then do and convert it into its conduct. So what we do is not what we do. What we do is what we believe. It is the product of our belief. Yes, everybody? Okay. So what are we wholesome of? If I say what my personality is, it is all that I believe in. So if I eat non-vegetarian food or if I don't eat it, if I do not go to temple daily or I go to temple daily, if I have tika on my temple or I do not even wear chappals, all that has been convinced to me. If I count the calories in my food, if I am counting on the sugar intake or the oil intake, because somebody convinced me, if I have a, a smartwatch which is constantly counting my steps for the day, if I am having the reminders for the water every hour, all that has originated, it has come into action because of certain beliefs which I garnered, not completely by myself, through influence, because others told me so, and I found it, up and running. I can do it too. So I happily acknowledged it. So we have to know that, the most precious thing which we own, our remote control, if somebody can tamper with my belief system, he can make me do anything. He can convince me to drink poison in order to give me liberation. And it happened. If you read about the cults that has happened in history, there have been so many cults who convinced the masses to do things which you would think that who would do this? Recently, one of the families in India, they committed mass suicide. And then there were certain rituals which were performed before committing the suicide. And they did so thinking of something. They were made to believe that if you do this, this is going to happen. The sad part is, in that, amongst those family members were children of 8 to 10 years as well. Those who did not, those who had all their lives ahead of them. But because some believed differently and they were in the position of control, they controlled whomever they could and they spread their beliefs. And therefore, it happens. If I read something good, be it Instagram, be it WhatsApp, be it Facebook, there is a share button right there. And that uh, thrill of sharing it first. Yeah. Sharing it before anybody else tells this to you, I want to tell you. The thrill of spreading the good things we come across is the thrill which tells us that how our lives are all outwardly. We're not inwardly oriented, we're outwardly oriented. So I see something, I click a picture, not to see it again, but to show it to others. I have come to a good place to eat, and the food has come very beautifully decorated, designed by the chef himself, and it has come and it is resting on my table, and I am hungry, I'm famished. But before I pick the spoons and fork, I would pick my phone and I'll Instagram it maybe. I'll share it with others. Not enjoying the food, but enjoying that I am doing something that you should do or you should be aware of I doing it. This is very common, if we are doing something you guys have done, or it started into Parmagam honors. So you're, when you meet somebody who's not doing the course, you must do it. It is really good. You should, try this too. If you've found a new recipe, found a good place, you would want to spread it. So it is our normal inclination that whatever good that we come across, we want to share it with others, whether we test it or not. If we just have the preconceived impression of it being good, I would happily want to propagate it. And that's how all religions spread. There are a handful of people who know what religious philosophy is. And there are so many people who just have that dress code of that religion and would want everybody to follow that religion, knowing nothing about that religion. G और जीने दो. Non-violence. Mahavir का क्या संदेश? Everybody should be a Jain. So that the greed of others following, and by following, validating my belief. So, this whole entire program of propagation is nothing but you seeking validation for your belief. So what in Jain context our Tirthankar Bhagwans are saying, your belief is not to be validated, but to be examined. It has to be thoroughly investigated by you. And if you do not investigate it and you look for validation, then the two possibilities occur. First is you remain at status quo. Whatever preconceived impressions, ignorance you were born with, like I'm body, this is my house, these are my parents, this is my food, these are my belongings. Nobody taught me this. I automatically knew who my people were, what my body is, how I am this body. This is the beliefs which we did not borrow from anybody. It was coming pre-installed in us. we'll be calling it agrahit beliefs. The thoughts which have not been generated or which have not been nurtured out of the impression of our ecosystem, our environment. That will be called the um, thoughts which are self-generated, which have always been there. Agrahit. We have not garnered or nurtured them in this birth. They have been traveling with us throughout. Because whichever body I took birth in, I considered that body as mine. So while I took birth in this body, my belief of considering this body as me, it was already there because of my experience of changing bodies in the past. Yes, everybody? So there are certain set of beliefs which are not borrowed, but are nurtured over the time without anybody's teaching us. Those beliefs are being called agrahit mithyatva, something which you did not um, inherit it. It was always with you. You owned it always. But then there are certain beliefs that, okay, I started to go to the college and there I met a friend and that friend had a very good habit of going to temple before every exam day. And he used to top every year. So I got this good habit from that person. I said, okay, I also, before giving an exam, would go do darshan in this temple. And I'll do like this, I'll do have a tika. You know? So now I saw somebody doing it. I saw results of that belief for them. And then I thought, okay, I can also acquire this belief. So this is called acquired belief or grahit mithyatva. This is the gift of your surrounding to yourself. And therefore, belief is the most precious thing, and our surroundings are the naughtiest thieves. They're actually the bandits. They are the dakus. Okay, not thieves. They're not the robbers. They are the bandits, you know? So your surrounding is there waiting to convert your belief into theirs because they are looking for the validation of their beliefs. And you are also looking for the validation of your beliefs. It's now only the matter of the position of authority, who claims more authority, who is more authoritative, and he will win. Either one of you will have to surrender. Yes, everybody? So the two words, grahit and agrahit, and this forever fight for validation. So I'm looking for validation of my beliefs that, okay, as Jains, we are reading so much of spirituality, but are you sure? I have seen those people doing much better socially, much better, they're more calmer than us. They have lesser breeds. They are so well behaved, all clad in white clothes. They're all brahmacharis. They're doing so well. So, you will have that self-doubt that are we doing the right thing? Correct? So this chapter starts with that proposition that the root cause of our suffering is our wrong beliefs. Wrong beliefs are of two types. One, which are acquired recently out of like from your ecosystem, from your surroundings. The other is what have been concreted, what has been cemented in you through the multiple, infinite births and death cycles you have been traveling through. So what Acharya Kunkundev has said in Samaysar Grantha, Sud Parichidanu Bhuda, Savvas Vikam Bhog Bandh Kaha. Huh? Everybody is very familiar with Kam, Bhog and Bandhan ki katha because they have practiced it in every life they took. So this is what makes our inherited wrong belief, like the wrong belief which we did not inherit. It was always there. We're calling it agrahit mithyatva. And then there is grahit mithyatva. Okay, now next question. So grahit mithyatva is something that you learn from your surrounding. And agrahit mithyatva is something which you have been carrying along with you. Yes, everybody? So out of these two, which looks the strongest? Grahit or agrahit? I'm talking about strong. Which type of wrong belief is stronger in its form? One that is
Okay.
acquired, inherited, or the one which has always been there?
Always been there.
I think
Yeah.
so. Grahit,
Sure, Grahit.
because
Grahit,
we get
Great.
inspired from the surroundings, isn't it?
You get inspired, but I'm talking about the intent, the strength of it.
Okay, so then it's Grahit, yeah. So it's their
Because
self,
it has been
yeah,
sustained
self-generated.
birth after birth. It has been, being fed well with our constant emotions that, okay, I believe this, I believe this, I believe soul to be,
Mhm.
body to be my soul. So Agrahit is strong,
Mhm.
but Grahit is dangerous.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Agrahit is strong in terms of which Mithyatva will take longer for you to destroy. Of course, Agrahit. But which will not let you reach the Agrahit. Grahit is that outer hindrance, it is that outer layer which does not let you enter to the real problems of life. If I am being told that if I come to this temple daily with a lotus in my hand, bare feet, in the hot sun for 365 days, on the 366th day, I will be cured out of my disease, which is actually a very dangerous one. And I'm really scared. And doctors have said that there is no treatment we have for you. So I am terminally ill. And there is one Baba whom I met. He's Chamatkari Baba, and he has cured so many people from this great disease. And he told me that, okay, for 365 days, you'll have to do it. Believe me, nothing will happen to you in these 365 days. Barefoot every day, same temple with this lotus fruit, lotus flower. And you have to come. And I am coming from 365 days. I'm doing this. Because for 365 days, I don't know what is going to happen in 366 day, right? For 365 days, nobody can tell you what will happen on 366th day. You cannot test it. If I tell you that you do X, so in the next birth you'll get Y. Can you test it? How can you judge the sanctity of my words, the trueness of my words? How can you? Can you? Can you? You cannot. For to know whether you'll get Y for doing X or not, you'll have to die. And in the next birth, this Baba will not meet you. You cannot again hold him accountable for what worked or what did not work. So it is a very dicey gamble that Grahit Mithyatva puts us through. It indulges or it makes us involved in mundane, away from the real crucial questions. And then it does something so terrible to us that we do not have the time to address the fundamental questions. Why will I die? Why there has to be a next birth? Why did the disease enter my body? My friends also had the same lifestyle. There are 6 members in my family. All of them are doing good. They ate the same. We remained under the same roof. We did the same things. Why this injustice with me? Who decides what happens to whom? Nobody's asking these questions because you have directly been told the answer that, okay, you do this and you'll do get that. Okay, if I get that, what will happen? If I get cured on the 366th day, I will then not die, right? I'll live forever. So that's how I have been fooled and I've been stopped from asking the questions which matter. This is what the Grahit Mithyatva does. So this chapter is talking about how the Grahit Mithyatva is going to close the doors of even getting rid from the Agrahit Mithyatva as well. So Grahit Mithyatva we will call, or we'll also call it superstitions. So all the superstitions will be put under Grahit Mithyatva, something which you have learned from your customs, from your families, from your friends, from your surroundings. So superstitions are what the Grahit mean because they are learned. They are not, they do not come pre-installed. Yeah. And agrahit mithyatva is the ignorance. There's a difference between superstitions and being ignorant. Being superstitious and being ignorant. They are two different things. Being ignorant is being unaware, being very uh, what should I say? Ignorant means being, very uh, disrespectful towards your own self, that you do not consider yourself a being and you're more worried about the wealth, you're more worried about the other family members, you're more worried about the politics of your country, you're more worried about the weather, the climate, the wars, and you're least bothered about your own self, the quality of your thoughts, the quality of life you have, what will happen in afterlife. You're not thinking about why did you come and come to this family, came again amongst these people. So when you're not asking the right questions, that is your agrahit mithyatva talking. And when you're involved in things which are completely mindless, which are completely stupid, it is called superstition. So the first rule is to never fall prey to any superstition. How to find out? How to find out that will it be being superstitious or not? Simple. If it makes you dependent, then it is a superstition. If I ask you to come to meet me every day and I'll enlighten you, then please return. It's a red flag. This is if a deity, if a Bhagwan, if a God claims that he's going to take care of everything, leave everything up to him. Please do not leave a single thing of you to that God. If it makes you dependent, then there is a problem. Because if somehow I give somebody the authority to correct my life, it means that the policy exists that somebody can tamper with my life. And if this is a good person, he can make it better. But if this policy is working, then there is a bad person. He also has the option of tampering with your life in bad ways, right? So if Anubhav gets to decide whether you will live or you will die, then there can be a cruel being who can also decide whether you will live or you will die. And then it will make this whole situation very complex. So therefore, we are believing in karma-based life. We are not believing in offering-based life, that where one God can fulfill your wish and one demon can take away all the good things from you. We're not functioning in that world. We are not philosophically believing in such a messy world. If somebody can make my life better, then I would rather not have that somebody. Because if there is somebody who can do it for me, then there is something who can make things worse for me. Yes, everybody. So superstition would be called out the moment the things that you're being called to do is to make you dependent. So if I am saying that, okay, do Namokar mantra 9 times every day, and it will make your life better, your business will prosper, your health will go so good. Yeah. Then I'm making you dependent of Namokar mantra. We have established a relationship between Namokar mantra and your prosperity, and there is a give and take transaction now. I do Namokar mantra, you give me back my prosperity, right? So it is a depending situation. It is going to rob me because today I can memorize Namokar mantra. I have voice, I can speak. What will happen when I go to Naragati and there is nobody to tell me about Namokar mantra? How then will I be okay and taken care of? So, dharma has this one condition. Religion has this one condition, that it could be practiced at all places and at all times. What we call in puja, apavitra pavitro va, sustito dustitopi va. अपवित्र हो या पवित्र जो नमस्कार जो नमोकार को ध्याता है, चाहे सुस्थित हो या दुस्थित, पाप मुक्त हो जाता है. Dharma does not bind you in customs. Dharma does not bind you in rules and regulations. You choose those rules and regulations for you. So in Jainism, you do not have to be a monk. You will have to choose it for yourself. Whether can you have Anuvrat, can you have Mahavrat? Will you just have Avirati, but Nyaya, Niti, Bhakshya? You are deciding your own limits, not your guru is deciding it for you. Yes, everybody? So, Grahit Mithyatva would be a situation where there is somebody who is helping. And whenever somebody is promising to help you, then ask yourself, if he will help me, what will my karmas do? If somebody else can help me, then my karmas become redundant. If my karmas become redundant, the accountability goes. I can do any type of thoughts and I can get away with any of the karmas. All that I need to ensure is I am amongst the best people, kind people. So no matter how bad I do, karmas are anyways out of the picture and these people will not hurt me. They're such nice, cute people, right? So when there is somebody else who is helping you, your karmas go out of work. When they go out of work, your accountability for the purity of your thoughts goes out of work. When that goes out of work, you indulge in bad deeds. And that doesn't function. The natural justice system works. So, great. What does Grahit Mithyatva do? Grahit Mithyatva gives you the shortcut, right? So, if I say again, I'll repeat that question again. If I will come to this temple without cleaning my mouth, झूठे मुंह में मंदिर में आ गया, पाप पड़ेगा. Paap padega, right? We should come with a clean mouth in the temple, right? Yes. If our understanding is such, then there is a problem with that understanding. So you're scared of pap, right? Means you're not scared of punya, right? Means you're not scared of bandh, right? Means you're not scared of samsar, right? Means you're not scared of life and death. Means you don't believe in siddhas. Means you don't believe in arhamta. Means you don't believe in parmeshthis. Why are you even entering the temple? Clean mouth or not? So when you attach customs to cause and effect, there is a problem. When you understand it, that it is for the preservation of the sanctity of my thoughts, that I should have simple clothes, clean mouth, cleaned body, so that I do not deviate in practicing devotion in the temple, then it is all okay. But when I attach the notions and there is direct transactional relationship between things, then dharma comes down to rituals. And those rituals, they over the time take form of grahit mithyatva. So you know what happens on the 2 days before the Shlakshan Parva, there is a ceremony which people do where they will eat everything, like so much of food, क्योंकि 10 दिन तो खाने मिलेगा नहीं. What do you guys call it? You are smiling, so I think you know. Yeah. So there is this ritual. People will say that, okay, I'll not have Hari on Ashtami and Chaturdashi. This is a ritual now. So today I had to eat something good. And when I said, Mama, aaj ye banega kya? And she said, Ashtami hai. Oh, Ashtami hai aaj. So now, जो धर्म आपको विरति देने वाला था, the dharma which had the function of bringing purity to your thoughts, when it becomes a custom, it starts binding you, and then it starts becoming the reason for the sanklishtata in your thought. The perversion of thoughts begins when you bind it. So, Grahit Mithyatva is the most dominant form of lifestyle which is prevalent in today's world. You open YouTube, everywhere the kathas are happening, devotional songs are happening, everywhere satsangs are happening, everybody is taking diksha, giving you a brahmacharya, telling you how to be more spiritual, how to be more meditative, how to be more thoughtful of your actions. And it is a very dangerous time to live in. It is because of Pandit Daulat Ramji, Pandit Todramalji, it is because of Acharya Kunkun Dev, Acharya Amritchandra Dev, it is because of Tirthankaras like Adinath Bhagwan, Mahavir Bhagwan, Parshnath Bhagwan, it is because of the gurus like Gurudev that, we are learning these things to not fall prey to any of the superstition. आपको जहां भी कहीं किसी क्रिया में बांधा जा रहा है, then you have to be very alarmed, very scared, and this is what is being discussed in this chapter. Grahit Mithyatva is that layer which does not let you reach to the boundary of Agrahit Mithyatva. And without reaching to that boundary, you cannot close it, you cannot open it, you cannot crack it down. So what is being told in this? In the Chedala, it starts with this verse. ऐसे मिथ्याद्रग ज्ञान चरणवश भ्रमत भरत दुख जन्म मरण. There are sufferings in four gatis, but the four gatis are not suffering. The root cause of suffering is mithya darshan, mithya gyan, mithya charitra, because of which I am transmigrating. So ऐसे mithya drag is mithya darshan, mithya gyan, mithya charitra vash. I am transmigrating. Brahmat, Bharat, Dukh, Janma, Maran. So I'm unhappy, not because of the situation, but because of the mindset. And that mindset is being given to me by my wrong belief. Everybody? Simple? So a Dev in Dev Gati should be happy because he has everything. He does not have to go to office. He does not have to take care of his family. A generational wealth he does not have to manage. No suffering for Deva. But yet, wrong belief that to have more is to be more happy. He thinks this Dev has so much of wealth. I have such little wealth with me. And he, out of his animosity, out of his enviness, he suffers. He suffers not out of situation, but out of mindset. So why is the soul wandering in mundane existence? What is the reason for this suffering? The answer to this question is provided in the second thal. ऐसी मिथ्याद्रग ज्ञान चरणवश भ्रमत भरत दुख जन्म मरण. Okay? The soul influenced by false faith, false knowledge, and false conduct wanders through the worldly existence and endures the sufferings of birth and death. What are those wrong faith, wrong knowledge, and wrong conduct due to which we are being happy? The perverted belief regarding the seven fundamental elements, tattvas, such as jeev, ajeev, etc., is known as wrong faith, also called wrong perception. You have studied the attributes of these elements. Viewing them contrary to their true nature is wrong perception. It is said, जीवादि प्रयोजन भूत तत्व सर्धे तिन्माही विपर्यत्व. To consider jivas not as they are. So if I am diagnosed with terminally endangering disease, okay, I'm going to, let's say, the doctor has told me that not much of time is left, okay. Now what is my belief system? That I will die because I do not know about the jiva and its eternal self. So I'll be scared. Out of scaredness, I will do artha dhyan. I will be thinking that what will happen of my family after me, what will be happening of these people after me, they are dependent on me, what will my children do? So I'm doing artha dhyan. And because of that artha dhyan, I'm also not giving thought to the possibility of ashraf that is happening. Pap ashraf. Because of artha dhyan, because of pap parinam, the pap is coming. And that pap will fruit in the papodaya, which will take me to Tirench Gati or Narak Gati. So I am suffering not because of this terminal illness. Not because of this. I am suffering because of this wrong belief that I will die out of this illness. I've died so many times before, big deal. This body is not me. And if I keep worrying about this disease killing me, I am killing myself every moment way before it. Udina is going to happen. This disease will multiply because of avishuddha parinam, sanklisht parinam. Because asata attracts asata. Suffering attracts suffering. Poverty attracts poverty. It is how it is. So one wrong belief about jiva, one wrong belief about this body, that the death of this body is my death. One wrong belief about, worrying is the only way out to, if you worry about things, things will happen. But that is Ashra Tattva Sambandhi Bhul. The more you worry, the more bad karmas you attract. So Ashra Tattva Sambandhi Bhul. Bandha Tattva Sambandhi Bhul. That, okay, I am suffering because I have disease. No. Remember last week when you did not know about this disease, you were worrying about the deadline. You were always suffering. You are habitual of suffering. Bandha Tattva, you think that Papodaya makes you suffer. You suffer in Punyodaya as well. Look at yourself, look into the mirror. Look at around your house. What reasons do you have to suffer? You have everything in your house. Yet you suffer. Not because of situation, but because of the mindset. Yeah. So wrong belief about one tattva means wrong belief about all the seven tattvas. That wrong belief is leading to the conduct of Sanklishta or Vishuddha Parinam. So agrahit mithyatva is not knowing the fundamentals well. So if your basics are not right, you're going to suffer. No matter how good place you end up in, life takes you to whichever heights, you're going to suffer. Yes, everybody? Yes. So this is first definition of mithyatva, that not knowing about the fundamentals. So this is since time eternal. It has always been there. But we have been supporting this with external activities. This is of 2 coins. Unacquired wrong belief, which is a great mithyatva, which has been about like the mistakes about the 7 tattvas. And acquired wrong belief, great mithyatva. Can you explain unacquired wrong belief? The feeling of oneness that living beings have with their bodies and attachments. Ekatva and mamatva bhav. This is me and this is mine. This is agrahit mithyatva. Okay, everybody? So looking at the mirror and saying, I look beautiful. It is not you speaking. It is your agrahit mithyatva speaking. You're tired and you're saying, I'm tired. You're not tired. The body is tired. But your agrahit mithyatva tells you that you are tired. I am hungry. You're not hungry. Body is famished. You know of hunger. You do not feel hungry. But agrahit mithyatva tells you that you are hungry. I'm short. I'm tall. I'm intelligent. I'm dumb. These are all agrahit mithyatva talking. Okay? So acquired wrong faith is the perverted belief that we have developed, being influenced by false deities, false scriptures, and false monks. Agrahit means that which is not acquired, and grahit means that has been acquired. In that case, there must also be acquired and unacquired or unacquired wrong knowledge, means which is agyan. Yes, of course. So, when you read these scriptures and you read the magazines and you have the knowledge which is not right, then that is called kugyan or mithya gyan. So, to put it practically in our context, we have to be very cautious about the kind of books we read, about the kind of people we listen to, and about the kind of conduct we follow. Rituals should never be norms. This is the thing. What is true for me will not work for you. So I know my body's capacity. I can remain hungry for entire day. I can do vas easily. But if you're diabetic, it is not for you. But what if karma nirjara only happens when you do vas? So then being diabetic also you'll have to do vas. But that will be suicidal. Yes, rituals do not become norms. They are the practices which we do to have purity in our thoughts, purity in our mind, purity in our conduct. But when they start becoming conditions, they will become the reason of impurities in our mind, in our words, and in our thoughts. Yes, everybody? The first thing. Second thing, that dharma is very independent doing. Dharma, it's a very personal process. When, you bind it with all these activities, it is just for you to have better understanding of it. It cannot become the only way to do it. So Muniraj don't do Dev Darshan daily. They don't go to the temple daily. They live in jungles. They don't do puja. But we do go to temple daily. We do puja on daily basis. So is doing puja not dharma? No, it is a ritual, but not the norm. For us, because we are living in households and we are always maligned with our thoughts, it is a very happy and easy escape for us to spend good 1-2 hours in temple. And it works for us. So it is a ritual for me. But if I did not or I could not do it, I'm losing out on something. Check your thoughts. Check your thoughts. It will tell you all about yourself. Yes, everybody. तो जब आपको कोई बोल रहा है कि अरे पापी लोगों ये नहीं करते हो तुम्हारा जन्म खराब है, you double check it. You do not take certificate of papi or dharmatma from anybody else. You do not take certificate of sammyak drishti or mithya drishti from anybody else. You process, you know yourself, you know the quality of your thoughts, you know how well you live. And that is what this is all about. So first is to understand about the nature of seven tattvas, six dravyas, the basics which we already did in Dravyagun Paryay Utpad Vay Dravya, which have already, that is the only syllabus to tackle agrahit mithyatva. The knowledge which has already, the wrong belief which has already been there. The only protective layer you have to add is that you ensure that you do not fall prey to small things. Like, you know, what used to happen in Corona time? People would go to temple and they will take the Gandodak and they'll apply it here, 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 everywhere. Because Bhagwan is Chamatkari and his Gandodak will cure you and the Corona will not come to you. The COVID will not reach you. You have certain people who would read Bhaktamar and they'll say that it will heal me. You will be healed out of the calmness in your thoughts. So if you have Vishuddhata, you'll automatically feel better. If that Vishuddhata is coming by reading Bhaktamar Stotra, congratulations. You took it a as an instrument that, you know, just like I'm doing Dravya Puja for better concentration, I diverted my attention from this disease, which is very painful, to Bhaktamar Stotra, to Namokar Mantra, to a Pujan, or to Bhagwan's Pratima. What it led to? It led to calmness in my thoughts. I was not now paying attention to my disease. What that calmness led to? That led to Vishuddhi. What that Vishuddhi led to? That Vishuddhi led to the Sankraman of Pap Karma into Punya Karma, which led to the healing of this disease. But then I said, no, 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 no. Bhaktamar is magical. Namokar mantra is magical. It is not. Our thoughts are magical and our thoughts are disastrous. If I am having negative thoughts, they themselves are my enemies. And if I'm having positive thoughts, they are my friends. For those thoughts, I have to take alamban of external deities, shastras, monks, but they do not help me. It is my thoughts which help me. Yes, everybody. So never attach and make rituals the norms. Chandan, aisa lagana chahiye, aisa lagana chahiye. You should use your right hand or left hand. These are commonsensical things. They are not the dharmic rituals. Yeah. So I should use my right hand to put tilak. But that tilak has no relationship with my, some magical power to calm my anger. No, it will not. It is the true understanding of seven tattvas and the world order that will help me. Yeah. So reading the text which will rob you out of your belief, following the people who are fooling others, who are talking about things of giving and taking, who are making you scared of what they are capable of doing. Please be very unafraid of these people and very much away from these people. This is what is being told to us. So, dharma is not a ritual. Dharma is for people who are with brains, who are intelligent, who have their cognitive brains working, and they calculate, they evaluate every thought point. Because just like if you bring anything in my plate for me to eat, I cannot just take it on face value. Okay, ठीक है, ये चलेगा, ये चलेगा, ये चलेगा. I'll have to see. Okay, I'm suffering from cold. This is ice cream. I cannot eat it for the time being. I will evaluate. I will not take anything at the face value. So just like the food on my plate has to be evaluated before consumption. Similarly, the thought which is being thrown at me by the DT, by the scripture, by the magazines, by the media, I have to first evaluate it whether to take it or not. And then only will I contemplate and accept that thought. Okay? So, doing certain type of activities, Namo Arahantadam, Namo Siddhadam, Namo Airyadam, Namo Vachayadam. You can read Namo Mantra like this. You can do tilak in certain style. You can wear certain kinds of clothes. You can start eating something, stop eating something. All these things you can do. But these things are not what will define mithyatva, what will define your being religious or not. So Grahit and Agrahit Mithyatva, Grahit Mithyatva is what we have to be very much aware of. Agrahit Mithyatva is through this Swadhyay we are constantly hitting on, and we will demolish it and we will attain Samyak Darshan. So think more about it. Try to identify small rituals that we already have very subtly fallen prey to, and attack on those small beliefs before they become custom of your family, the ritual of your family, and your children start taking them as adults. Okay, everybody, we'll stop here for Granthar Vachan. If you have any questions and any thoughts to it, we'll be listening about this in the next class. Okay.
Thank you, AnubhavJi. We have Britaji who will be doing Gandharvachan, and then followed by Vishwaji as well.
Jai Jinendra. The fourth chapter of Vitrag Vigyan Part 3 is based on the second chapter of Chedala by Pandit Daulat Ramji. The word Dhala means a shield or armor. But what is it protecting? It is an armor for the soul against the cycle of suffering. Our soul has been wandering in the sansar since Anadi Kal, not because of bad luck, but because of a perverted belief system. This is Mithyatva or delusion. Much like an intoxicated driver whose vision is distorted, we perceive reality through a distorted lens. Thus, trapped by our own ego and a false sense of certainty, we remain blissfully unaware of how deeply lost we are. To understand this, let us consider the story of a camel calf. Every night, a calf is tied on to an iron post with a rope. Thus, he is trained to think that he is bound and cannot escape. Eventually, the trainer stops using the rope. He simply goes through the motion of tying the knot. Even though there is no physical rope, the camel stays put because he's bound by his own conditioning, an imaginary rope. We are that camel. We are not bound by physical shackles, but we are bound by our mental delusions about our bodies, our possessions, and our families. Thus, this delusion can be divided into two categories, Agrahit Mithyatva and Grahit Mithyatva. Agrahit, or the innate delusion, is like the dirt which is found in a raw diamond. A raw diamond can never be found without dirt. Similarly, the delusion that has been associated with the jiva since the time beginning is Agrahit Mithyatva. Just like how a newborn child cries without ever being taught how to cry, we have an instinctive feeling that I am this body. We believe our eyes see, our ears hear, forgetting that they are just windows. And it is a consciousness behind them that truly knows. We chase behind the sensory pleasures and mistake temporary things like wealth or health and for permanent truths. These are the Agrahit Mithyatva. Grahit Mithyatva is the delusion which we learn in this current birth. Just like how the parents are teaching a kid how to use a fork and the kid mimics the parents and learns how to use these beliefs that one develops by being influenced by Kuru, Kudev, and Kushastra is the one which is called as Grahit Mithyatva. Because of our know-it-all attitude, even if we sit before a Suguru, we only hear what we want to hear. That all falls under the Grahit Mithyatva category. So if we think of Agrahit delusion as a deep illness, and then Grahit delusion is a wrong medicine we are taking, which furthers the illness. The wrong medicine is dangerous because it prevents us from seeking the actual cure for the underlying disease. Grahit is a state of a spiritual slumber where we don't ask the right questions, and Grahit is a busy, mindless dream that keeps us from waking up. Darshan and Gyan work in tandem together. Charitra follows suit. So when our fundamental beliefs is perverted, the knowledge which is based on the belief and the conduct that follows the knowledge is also wrong. Just like how we strongly believe an apple to be an orange, then the knowledge about both the fruits and the conduct of how we are consuming the fruit also becomes wrong. So this wrong knowledge is Mithya Gyan and the wrong conduct is Mithya Charitra. They are also further divided into two categories, Agrahit and Grahit. The fundamental ignorance regarding the Prayojan Bhut Tattvas and the nature of the soul is agrahit mithya gyan. When one studies scriptures, misunderstands and misinterprets, and his misinterpretation leads to development of rag and dvesh, and he firmly believes them to be true, then it is grahit mithyatva. The indulgence of a jeev in the five sensory objects, enjoying it, reminiscing it, thinking it to be real happiness is agrahit mithya charitra. When a jeev takes to superficial adoption of conduct rituals due to the desire for praise and admiration, it is grahit mithya charitra. Panditji also warns us that kudharma occurs when a person believes that spiritual merit can be found in actions driven by rag and dvesh, while in reality it leads to bhav and dravya himsa. While mithya darshan is wrong belief, kudharma is the practice of the wrong belief. It is a dangerous conviction to think that one can reach a state of vitaragata through a path paved with passion and harm. So how do we snap this imaginary rope? In order to eliminate the grahit mithyatva, we must develop critical, deep understanding of the vitaragi nature of devs, identify real teachers, real gurus, and then seek the true scriptures. And in order to eliminate the agrahit delusion, we should strive to truly understand the seven tattvas and experience the real self, which is the soul. Thank you.
Very well done. Beautiful.
Jai Jinendra, should I go next, or sir, do you have any questions?
Nee, please.
Yeah. Kripaji, can I please share my screen if that's okay?
Yes, I think you should be able to do that. Can you
Oh.
try? Do you have
Yeah.
option? Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes, I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes, we can see.
Okay.
Thank
So just a second, not sure how to close this. Okay. So my chapter, the chapter which I'm going to explain is the fourth chapter of the Namakar Mantra book. The chapter is named I Am Myself God. The chapter is written by Dr. Hukumchand Ji Bhareli, who presents the central Jain doctrine that every soul is inherently Bhagwan by its very nature. That is, it is eternally knowledgeable, blissful, and powerful. It is also known as the Karan Paramatma, the causal or the rational God, and that the soul possesses infinite wealth, yet suffers like a destitute person due to ignorance and identification with the body and the external world. So there is a story which helps us connect how we are ignoring our own soul and focusing on the outer world rather than our own self. This story goes: a wealthy Seth deposits 1 crore in his 5-year-old son's name in a fixed deposit for 20 years, but keeps it a secret. Now, after the father's death, the boy grows up poor, pulling a rickshaw and shouting railway station for 2 rupees. He's a crorepati by birth and ownership, and yet everyone, including himself, sees him as a destitute because of ignorance. Now, the problem is, after 20 years, when it was announced on the radio that a person by the name of the boy is has like 5 crore in deposit, 1 crore in deposit, he thought it must be someone else and it could not be him. He jokes to his friends and says, "See, I'm a crorepati, but there's no real change." Poverty feeling still persists. But then the friend of the Seth comes and tells the boy that it is you who is the owner of this wealth, and you are the one who has got the 1 crore rupees. That is when the youth's mindset transforms instantly and the destitute feeling vanishes forever. So the key lesson here is that the mere existence of wealth or the godhood, which gives no benefit without knowledge, right faith, and right realization. But the moment the youth believes and accepts his wealth, his inner state and behavior changes forever, and the actual money might flow in later. So how is that applied to our own soul? Okay, so we are already God. Every soul is already God. We are knowledgeable and blissful by nature, residing in the body temple. Arihant and such statues in temples are Karya Paramatma, or the functional God, which are venerable but external. We worship the temple idols with 8 substances, which is our Dravya Puja, but must meditate on our own soul, the Nij Bhagwan, for liberation. Ignorance makes the soul wander like the rickshaw puller, suffering birth, old age, death, and misery, despite being inherently supreme. The right faith or the Samyak Darshan is accepting I am myself godlike, God and Bhagwan. The right knowledge here is knowing that the soul's true attributes are what. And finally, the right conduct is meditating on it, getting engrossed, and reveling in it. Without self realization and unwavering faith, scriptural knowledge or debates remain mere intellectual exercise, like the youth joking about being a Karorpati. Misery persists, transmigration in four gatis continue, and real bliss eludes. A compassionate guru reveals you are already Bhagwan by nature. You do not have to become one. You should know, recognize, and immerse in the inner self. Just a second. Yes. Now, the scriptural support on this is that from Pandit Daulat Ramji's third dhala, which is in which the fourth dal says that knowledge is the supreme nectar, destroying birth, old age, death, and the disease. All who have attained or will attain liberation do so through the glory of knowledge, or even greater, the glory of right faith. The chapter stresses that the knowledge alone is insufficient. Right faith, belief, and realization is more important. It is faith that makes the invisible wealth of godhood usable and transformative. There's a hierarchy in the spiritual. Just a second, sorry. There's a hierarchy of spiritual attainment, which is liberation being the last one. The first, like starting like 1 to 4, but the fourth one is the one we have to achieve first. That is right knowledge. Then comes right faith. Then comes the right conduct, and finally liberation or the moksha. And finally, the practical behavior transformation. On gaining the right faith and partial self-realization, the soul undergoes a profound and immediate inner revolution even before external circumstances change. Purity of life, activities involving injustice, non-vegetarianism, or wrong faith end. The person never again indulges in derogatory acts. Destitute feeling vanishes. The inner poverty of misery disappears forever, even if torn clothes or dilapidated house take time to change externally. Worldly riches become insignificant and there is an eager progress without anxiety once we understand the true nature of our self or the soul. And finally, there is a satirical couplet which says that a God who forgives sins or on prayer or bribe, prarthana ki rishwat, would be compassionate but unjust, encouraging sin rather than justice. True justice per Jainism and Acharya Kunkun is that every being reaps exactly what its own karmas produce. No external interference, even from the most powerful Bhagwan. A wrong belief that others make me happy or miserable creates pride or destitution, dependence on external forces. Whereas right realization that I am myself God and responsible for my own karmas removes both pride and destitution at the root. And finally, concluding, we need to stop behaving like the rickshaw puller. We need to understand that what is the true nature of our soul and start realizing it rather than being ignorant about it. So know about gain the right knowledge, believe and accept with unwavering faith that I am myself God, revel in it, immerse in the true inner self through meditation and right conduct, and attain it once the transmigration ends and supreme happiness is attained, not in some future life, but right now in the very moment of realization. Thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah. So like two great chapters of on great Mithyatva and my God, and I am Bhagwan, unlike Riksha Puller. So beautifully done. Okay, both the congratulations. Thank you. Okay, let's do Jinvani Stuti for today. निज निधि निज में बताई यह अनंत उपकार है उसके लिए चिन्हवाणी मात वंदना शतुतारो उसके लिए चिन्हवाणी मात वंदना शतुतारो 9 times from the गंतर के पुत्र बंसर चेंद्र भगवंतों की जय हो। द्वादशान में जमानी माता की जय हो। समस्त विद्वान महामुराजों की जय हो। अहिंसा में जैन भवानी की जय हो। शासन में तीर्थंकर महावीर स्वामी की जय हो। जय
जय
जिनेन्द्र।
जिनेन्द्र।
थैंक यू।
जय
जय
जिनेन्द्र।
Jai
जिनेन्द्र।
Jinendra, thank